Hey tubers, what's up? This is Brian. Hey, I just got back from a small comic book show here in the Northern Virginia area. It was at a Holiday Inn in Alexandria. I don't even know about the show. Apparently they put on four to eight of them a year. I never didn't know anything about it. Like I said, I moved up here about a little over a year ago. Never really paid attention to that. I stumbled on it by looking on Craigslist, and it was actually I was on there looking for comic books, and it was listed under sports card show, and it had comics barely listed as being on there. So I thought I had nothing to do today, so I thought I'd go check it out, see if I could find anything. And I was really surprised that half of this venue was actually comics, and the other half was just sports cards, which I walked past and didn't even blink an eye at. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you some of what I picked up. This first stack of books I'm going to show you is I got them all for 50 cents. They were in a 50 cents bin, and I think that at 50 cents, I got a pretty good deal, and it's a huge stack that I'll be a while getting to before I can read it because school's starting up again next week, and I've already got a huge stack of books that I haven't gotten to from eBay and whatnot. So here's what I got for 50 cents a piece. Started off with Thunderbolts number 4. I totally missed the bus on Thunderbolts early on, and because I missed the bus on it, I really didn't start picking them up for a long time. And when I did, it was probably in the 30s or 40s. When I started picking them up, and I liked them, but I never really tried to pick up any of the older books, and I really didn't stick with it for long because by the time I started buying them, it was I had been transferred to Italy, and I lived over there for 3 years, and while I was there, I really didn't. I kind of stopped reading comic books almost altogether. I definitely stopped collecting comics. Occasionally, I would get a trade paperback off of the at the bookstore on base where I was stationed, and occasionally I would pick up some single issues here and there. But like I said, I really didn't collect while I was there because almost everything, all the comics that were there, the little kids, these little bratty Navy kids they just destroyed them by looking at them all afternoon while their parents were at work or whatever. So that's why it's a little bit of why I gave up collecting for a little bit. So anyway, that's number 4. Next up, I have number 11, number 14. Now I really enjoy a lot of these earlier ones when I'm going to get a chance to look at these ones, and because Busiek, I think is how you say his name, and Bagley, I think they made a pretty good team. I wasn't a fan of Bagley early on when I first started seeing his work, but he's kind of one of those guys. He's kind of grown on me, and I like his stuff now. So next I have 27, 28, 29, 31 with old Hawkeye there. Hawkeye's one of those characters that I like the character, but at the same time he kind of annoys me with his general attitude of the way he was always giving Cap shit back in the Avengers early on. I don't know. Like I said, I like the character, but he's just kind of annoying. And as far as him in the movie, the Avengers movie, I really don't like that actor very much. So kind of killed the whole Hawkeye thing for me in the movie. Next up is 45. I've got 47. This cover's pretty cool. I like it quite a bit because I'm a fan of Songbird. I think she developed into a pretty cool character. Only bad thing now is I've got to go back and find where Screaming Mimi first appeared, her first appearance, and pick that up because I really do like this character. Then her friend there is obviously Captain Marvel. I don't know a whole lot about Captain Marvel. He's one of those characters that I just never really got into. At my local shop, though, they do have quite a few of his early books from the Silver Age, and I noticed it early on in the early run. The first, I don't know, 10 books or so. He used to wear a green and white uniform or costume, and man, I really think that costume was so much better than the one that he started wearing later on in that series. He said, I didn't read the book, but I have looked through the covers, and his early costume, the green and white, was just really, in my opinion, was way cooler than this blue and red with that star on his chest. All right, next up, I got Thunderbolts 57. His cover, just from with the concentric circles like that, makes me think that Hawk or Havoc should appear in there somewhere. I haven't read the book yet, but maybe I'll get lucky. He'll be in there somewhere. Now I've got Thunderbolt 67, 69, 70. Now I'm going to move these and start a new stack because they're starting to crowd the camera a little bit. Next up, I got Thunderbolts 71. Now, I have no idea who this character is, but the cover is pretty cool in my opinion. I think she looks like an interesting character. Next up, I got 72, 77, 78, 80. Now, this cover's pretty cool. Like this one and the last couple, the whole magazine look and feel to them was kind of cool. But this one, I think the character there, I don't know who she is. I haven't read the book yet, but I think the character looks interesting. She's a cool looking character, and the little cartoony Spider-Man and the other dude, I don't know who that guy is hanging off of her rear end there, but they're pretty funny looking to me. So I'm looking forward to getting into this book and seeing what it's all about. Next up, I got 81. And then I'm getting into the whole Marvel, and let's change everything to issue number 1 again for whatever reason. So it's the New Thunderbolts reassembled, issue 1. Issue 2. Number 3. 91. Don't know who that guy is, but kind of looking forward to getting into that book. I think it's a pretty cool cover. I like the red background on it. I think it makes things pop a little bit. Next up, I have 17. And then I have 17 again because I got confused while I was digging through that box of books. After that, I've got 18, 101, 102, 106, 107, 124. I think that was before that Chinese lady threw green paint on the Lincoln Memorial. 126, 132, 133, 134, 136, and this is going to wrap up my Thunderbolts. 138. Now this is a series that I'm looking forward to trying to complete. It's kind of on my goal list right next to my New Mutants completion list. So give me a second to arrange the other next little stack I'm going to show you. Now, I went to the show kind of hoping I would find something good, and I did. I was actually kind of surprised. So, like I said, I'd gotten out of collecting comics and reading comics for about 6 years, and I moved up here to the Northern Virginia area like last September, and I stumbled upon a local comic shop, and I've been going to that shop ever since. And so since then, I've gotten this idea in my head that since Marvel's relaunched everything, I mean, when I was a kid, I wanted to have every Spider-Man and every X-Men and every Avengers, right? So, but because they're releasing a new title every month, you can't possibly complete the entire run. So, since Marvel has gone and relaunched everything, I can make an attempt at completing runs of these books now. So with X-Men, I decided I'm going to be realistic with myself, and I'm just going to try to go back to Giant Size #1 and start from there up to the end of Volume 1 of the Uncanny X-Men. I already have a head start on that because years ago, back in like '98, I bought a copy of Giant Size X-Men #1. I'm not going to show you that because I'm just going to show you today what I bought new. So anyways, for a lot of last year, I've been working on trying to knock out those X-Men books. So I'm going to show you what I bought today to work on that. I bought X-Men '98. This book is I've got the original, not the original books, but I've got the classic X-Men. That's where I was introduced to these early X-Men books. So I do remember most of this. I haven't opened this up yet, but it's a really nice copy. It's probably it's somewhere in the between 8 and 9. So I really like the way the Sentinels are hanging out up on top of that building there, just trying to whoop some X-Men ass. And I think the artist on this was Cockrum, Dave Cockrum, and yeah, that's who it was. So from there, the next Uncanny X-Men I picked up was number 121, and this I think is the John Byrne cover. Give me just a second, I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure that's who it was. But I like this one. It's not the first appearance of Alpha Flight, but the second appearance. I think it's listed as the first full appearance. Give me just a minute. Yep, 121, the first full Alpha Flight story. And I'm pretty sure it was a Byrne issue. So anyways, there's a first full appearance of Alpha Flight. Next up, I bought 126. I have number 127, but I'm gonna hold off on showing you all the Uncanny X-Men that I picked up last year. Just show you guys all at one time. But these 3 issues here, they were all in really good shape, and the price I paid for them definitely reflects that. I think for these 3 books, it ended up costing me like $120 for all 3 of them. So again, I'm really happy to have these ones, particularly '98. I just love that Sentinel cover. And I have 3 more books that I bought at that show. Those X-Men books I bought those from the same person I bought these next 2 books. These last 2, I went back and got them because I just couldn't help passing them up because I just like them so much. They're just really, really cool. And the guy was really nice. They're Amazing Spider-Man in the 600 range. That's 606. And then the next one is 607. Those are in the Spider-Man world. Black Cat is one of my favorite characters. I just can't help it. I just think she's a really cool character. She's, in a way, she's the Marvel's answer to Catwoman, but I think she's cooler than Catwoman. It's just my opinion. And J. Scott Campbell he knocked it out of the park with that one. And then that one right there, that's just a grand slam in my opinion. I just love that book. And this, again, these came out in a time when I was not buying and reading comics, so I'm just totally clueless about so much that happened over the last, last 6 years of comics. But these two will definitely, have a spot in my favorite comics. And then this next book I picked up as totally an impulse buy. There was one booth where I ended up talking to the guys for probably 30 or 40 minutes. And, while I'm sitting there talking to them, I was kind of looking through their stuff, and I really wasn't hitting on anything that I liked that he had. And so, I kept as I kept talking to him, he felt like I should buy something from him, but I couldn't find anything that I liked. And then I looked up on his little back wall there, and that he had of comics up on his little pegboard wall. And this one caught my eye. And then what really caught my eye was the 50% off sign that he had right next to him. So that is Forever Evil #1. That's the 3D cover. I don't know if this is going to work out on the camera, but it's I don't think it's coming out too well. But anyway, just take my word for it. That is the 3D cover for Forever Evil #1. I think I mentioned in my last video, I'm not a huge DC fan, but I do read some DC books. And with these 3D covers, they're just really cool in my opinion. I just think that they're really cool. They caught my eye as soon as I saw them in my local comic shop. And so I ended up getting all 52 of those Villains Month books. So I got those off of eBay for probably a lot more than they're worth. So I'm not going to make myself look too retarded about getting all 52 of them. But I'm really happy to have got this book. It just kind of goes along with completing those books. And then when I got home from the store, or when I got home from this little show, actually, no, what? Let me back up a little bit further. On my way home from the show, I stopped at not my comic shop where I like to go on a regular basis, but I stopped at a shop that carries the box drawers. And man, I cannot say enough about these boxes. They are just, I'm just so sick of digging through, unstacking and unstacking boxes to get to my books. So I got on their the box drawer comic collecting website, and I found a list of retailers that sell these boxes. So I stopped at the shop on the way home, and I picked up a couple of those boxes. And while I was there, I picked up a trade paperback, and it's of a book that I've kind of been wanting to check out for a while, but by the time I noticed it, or started reading comics again, and by the time I noticed it, it was probably up to like issue 22 or 24, something like that. And I just don't feel like, I always have a hard time jumping on a book when it's that far into the run. So I haven't pulled the trigger on it. And the other thing is, I get on eBay and I look on eBay, and the prices for this book, the first issue, are just more than I really want to pay for a book that may or may not have any staying power in the long run. So I picked up this trade of Chew. I haven't read it yet. It's kind of interests me, and so I decided to pick that up on my way home. And then when I finally got home after all this nonsense, I had something waiting for me. And it's a book that I really am happy to have, just because it's going to allow me to complete a run. And the character is interesting that's introduced in this comic, but he's not a character that I am so in love with that I'm happy about having to pay as much for the book as I did. But anyways, so now this puts me at 73% complete on the first volume of New Mutants. And of course that's Deadpool #1, or I'm sorry, the first appearance of Deadpool. Yeah, I bought it off of eBay. It's not in horrible shape. The guy who shipped it to me just shipped the book in a packing board in a flat rate mailing box, or a mailing envelope from the post office. When I saw it on my door, I was like, "Ooh, finally, it's here!" And so I picked it up, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is very light!" And it did not feel any cardboard inside the box or inside the envelope. So I was really, really nervous about it. I got it open. It's not in such a bad condition. It's not bad. It's worth what I paid for it. And the other thing is the guy that I bought the X-Men and Spider-Man books from, he had 2 copies of this. He's asking $150 a piece for them. So I've got his business card. If you're interested, you could send me a private message on Google, I guess. I haven't used that before, but this would be a good reason to use it. So anyways, if you're interested in the New Mutants at $150, they really are in pretty good shape. You could PM me and I'll dig out his business card and try to get you in touch with him, because I'm sure he can use all the business he can get, because, well, we all can. That's going to wrap it up. So if you're one of the 3 people to watch my last video, thanks for coming back and watching this one.